Yeah, I've been able to put myself under a situation where a ministry gift, a clergy, was able to get some things about my life. Once it's the past stuff, it should not be a surprise to you again. We only subject ourselves to manipulation when a past deed is like a wow to us. It's past. Either you have the details or not, either you know it or not. That someone could tap into the realm of the past to get an information out for you should not wow you that much. But because we have come to a state of being vulnerable and we have elevated our respect for the person's sensitivity over our own spiritual work with God, that is, and because we are desperate for answers in a particular area of our life, that is why we tend to be vulnerable and we succumb to their manipulation. Any man can manipulate you once they notice that you need that thing, you are desperate, and you have elevated them over yourself. How do I mean? I will start from the New Testament. I'm trying to wrap. I remember before I began the video, but I can't remember again. But I will start with New Testament. If I can remember the old, I will go back to it. I Peter, I think the Act of Apostle, when they were trying to minister to people, and it was with somebody, Peter and someone, they were preaching, going and going and going, and a girl started talking about them behind them. This is the ministers of God. This is the ministers of God, of the living God. Blah blah blah. That statement sounds edifying. That statement sounds true, but the spirit behind that statement was wrong. It was a familiar spirit, demonic spirit, and not from God. And Peter was able to be sensitive. He was discerning enough to know that that statement, though true, was coming from a corroded spirit, was coming from a polluted spirit and not the spirit of God. And he rebuked her and delivered her. He rebuked the spirit in her and delivered her. So the fact that even the boss of the girl was angry that why did you deliver my weapon that I'm using to make money? So apparently any spirit, they are familiar spirits, they are evil spirits, they are territorial spirits that can tap into the realm to get information out. Yeah, let me now set an example of contemporary that I've heard about. I'm not sure of the details, and so I'm sorry if the details are not accurate, but I want to talk from what I've heard so far. Baba Biye Ede Prayer Mountain, we heard that when he was born, they normally do one thing generally in cultural and cultural nature and the most of the tribe you have in Nigeria. They go to check what will happen to your creator, like color say color wo akojaye akosajaye. They want to go and check to know what it will become, and the person that talked about it to them, the person they want to go and meet, the Ifa priest said it's going to be wearing white clothes, it's going to be saying stuff, it's going to be doing this, doing that. Because of their religious inclination then, they assumed that it was going to be something with physical sight. So a week or 2 weeks to his wedding, they blindfolded him. So many things happened. They separated him and his wife, they frustrated him and all that and all that. By the time he was becoming, yeah, remember the Old Testament example, I'll say it later. But when he was becoming what God has sent him to do, when he was evolving, praying, spending time with God, focusing all this energy to God, that he was able to deliver people, bring forth miracles, and do the things that God has endowed him to do. So it's now becoming to coming to the understanding that really you can only see a part of it, you can't see everything. God is not a gossip. God is not a gossip. If anybody says anything about you that God has not told you, the person gossiped on a spirit, not God's spirit. God is not a gossip to expose you to someone that will manipulate you. And even if by any chance the person uses or trims or sharpens or prunes their skills enough to know what is going on that only God could have said, then it's not by the Spirit of God. Then you should be discerning enough to know when it is Spirit of God and when it is when it is familiar spirits, territorial spirits, and spirits of the devil. Yeah, the Old Testament part I've remembered Joseph. when he had the dream that sheep were standing, and there were 12. I'm even trying to imagine why dinner was not part, but don't let me go there now. But he saw 12. He saw 12, and he saw that one stood, which was his, and the other 11 bowed to him. Another dream he had was sun, moon, and stars. Sun, moon were the father and the mother respectively. The stars were his brothers, bowing to him. And it got them hungry. They were already interpreting it to be that, so we will now be the ones to serve you. And they got angry and they took different steps. It might look like Joseph did the wrong thing by telling his brethren, but at the long run, God used it for his glory. God used it so. So the same place that God wanted to use him, that they sold him to. They wanted to kill him one way or the other. The child ended up selling him. The different children of different mothers were ganging up against different actions to do, and one superseded one. The people that Reuben wanted to go and take him later in the well, dry well, but some people had already, some brothers of another mother had already sold him. So there were different, in fact, there were divisions even in their midst. They were planning, co-planning, crook planning, and all that. Not knowing that this was going to be a big plan of the world. It was to save the world. God will never show you everything, because he knows that you yourself, you can gossip about yourself. You can expose yourself. So God will not show you everything at once. I wonder if God had showed Joseph about the world, that actually was going to be used for saving the world when the compulsory famine came. If it was that God showed him, he would have died, because it would have been as well. It is that God now use, not us again. The killing would have been a common opinion, and they would have killed him. But God will never show you everything, remember. And anything anybody says about it, because you went there. Now, to my own personal experience, I went to a particular religious inclination, all in the name of I wanted to have an answer to some things and all that. Because I was there, the person saw me, the person could travel, because the person has been exercising their spiritual intellect, their spiritual gifts. The person was able to say some things about me. Either it was true or not, I don't know. And why did I say that now? Because I was devastated. I was not emotionally balanced. I was not spiritually alert, no discerning. I was into some things that were not palatable. So my sense of reason was even down. Let me talk about my spiritual sharpening. So what he was just saying, either it was true, I wasn't trying to correct him. Imagine on some things about me that he was trying to maneuver to tell me some information. So when you go to some places, the solution, I think, for some things is don't go to some places. You have no business going to the comfort zone of the enemy. Not enemy by enemy. In some places where you know that is what they are based in, that is their strength. You don't go to some places. You don't go to the comfort zone of a potential predator. You don't go to the abode of a potential, someone that can prey on you. Because if you go there, with time, it's like shedding off onion layers. It's like shedding off your thick skin. It's like shedding off your you say shock absorber. You will just realize that you're vulnerable and you can't do without them, and at some point they'll take advantage of you. So information can come from any means. Info can come from any means. Sharpen your spiritual discernment. Sharpen yourself, so that even if it is true and it could be coming from a wrong source, so that you can know how to do. I hope this helps. God is not a gossip. Any info you heard that is not meant to be, either because you subjected yourself to that particular environment, or they saw it by familiar spirits, territorial spirits, or the spirits of the devil, or more than that. But it is not God. God loves you to expose you. God loves you to expose you. Don't give people the avenue to concentrate on your matter, to hear some things that you are meant to be the only one to hear it. I hope that makes sense. Thank you for listening.